important bit when we begin is to start on the track or on the wall, somewhere where you have a fence which gives you a little bit of support. So the horse is feeling that they can stand straight, and when you start to cue the leg to lift, they're not walking to the side or walking forward or walking back. So bringing them to the track, making sure that they are able to stand by themselves on all four legs, that you don't have the feeling that you need to hold them still, that they can stand on all four legs by themselves and be relaxed. And then from the beginning you're starting in a standing position. After a while, when they're starting to get the idea to lift the leg, you'll start to create the movement forward. And then you'll begin to move them forward, lift the leg, and then forward again. And then the lift turns into the walk or the step that is going forward. So the beginning part is just letting your horse feel a little bit the stick. They're not wanting to run forward or backwards. And then I just work my way down the leg, tap. Generally, you feel a little bit the area on the leg and which part of the horse's leg is going to be more sensitive. And then I tap a little bit. As soon as the leg bends, I take the pressure away. And then in between, I always a little bit move from that spot. So it's like asking a question, they get the right answer, and then moving from that spot lets them know, okay, that was the right answer, then we move on. So you're not continuing to ask the same question in the same spot. And then the same again, I look to lift a little bit behind. When the knee lifts up and you get the bend, again I relax, and again a little bit go forward. The next step from the standing still position is, Sophia has gotten a little bit ahead of us here, but we're getting that we can tap a little bit behind, and you might, on a sensitive horse, keep the stick there to encourage them to take the leg forward. But in the beginning, what I'm looking for is that the knee is coming up. It's not so important that the foreleg is stretching forward, but more that the knee is coming up. And when I sometimes have the feeling when I touch the knee that the horses are sometimes leaning back, they might go a little bit backwards, you know, taking the shoulder this way. I then start to take the head a little bit up, and so that I can get more a lift where the knee is going up. And I look when the knee goes up that the point of the horse's shoulder here starts to be influenced. So when you see Sophia start to lift the knee, at some point the point of the shoulder here starts to come a little bit up, and I just keep the stick behind the leg until the knee is coming there up, and then I'm relaxing. And so first of all, getting the bending the leg, then getting that the knee starts to go a little bit forward, and then from there you can incorporate it into a step. And so to start to lead it into a step, I get a little bit the lift from behind, and then I transfer the stick from behind to in front. And so you're able to have a little bit the idea of the bending from behind, and then the stick goes in front, that the horse starts to push against the stick to take the leg a little bit forward. And so then we build into that till eventually I don't need to tap behind. I can just keep the stick in front, and the horse is going and pushing a little bit against the stick. And then you may get to a stage where your horse is lifting very high, standing still, and you are thinking, now how do I get this into a walk step? And so from there I'm just getting the lift. Let's try only the left leg first. And then when the leg is in the air, I'm taking a step forward. So I'm positioning myself more in the front, lift and take the leg forwards. Lift and take it forwards. And when you're having that moment of suspension in the air where the leg is lifting, I then encourage the horse to take the step forward. So the step becomes a lifting and a going. And so we look at that again. And of course Sophia is knowing the step. We'll take another horse in a moment that's really at this level. And once I have the lifting and taking forward, lifting and bringing forward, lifting and bringing forward, that I'm getting that timing of them taking the leg forward, I start to then get the walk before I lift. So I walk a little bit, and then as the right front leg is hitting the ground, I'm asking the front leg. So now when you start to walk before the lift, and then you ask, and then you walk after the lift, it's the timing that's really important. Because of course if you're asking the horse to lift when the leg is in the ground, it's not able to lift the leg when you ask. So my guide often is looking at the opposite leg. So when my opposite leg is hitting the ground, I'm starting to cue this leg for leaving the ground. So if we're watching Saphira walk here, I'm watching right front, left. Watch the legs and lift. And so then I'm really getting in the timing, teaching yourself to look for the moment where you need to give the cue, and that you eventually can reduce the steps. In the beginning, give yourself plenty of time, that you allow the horse to walk, you watch the legs, lift the head, cue the leg, and get the step. And so again, and then I start to just minimize the steps. So I'm thinking lift, walk a bit, lift, walk a bit, lift, walk a bit, lift, and walk a bit. And once I have the left leg going really good, then I do the same thing on the other leg. And so I'm doing each leg individually first. And then again, when I start on the right front, and sometimes the horses, from feeling that release and that reward, often if the balance is wrong, they may lift another leg, working out which is their left and which is their right. But then again, I start from standing still, and then I'm going a little bit behind again. So I'm having my stick a little bit behind the knee, lifting a little bit the head up, keeping my stick there until I get the leg a little bit reaching forward. And once I have the leg lifting up, I can transfer the stick in front, that the horse is looking for the target, a little bit like target training. And then I can begin to walk a little bit, and then think about lifting the leg. And again, looking for the rhythm and lifting the leg. And so that once you have each leg individually, you can start to put the legs a little bit together, but again, leaving yourself time in between for the steps. So I can think about my left leg, and then walk a bit, and then think about my right leg, and walk a bit. And then think about left leg, and then Saphira's going to take over and just say, hurry up, it's time to do both legs. And so you're just building it up in stages so that you're able to have the forward and the control. And they know the one leg, and then they know the other leg. And what the horses need to be able to learn to do is keep the back legs walking. Of course, if the back legs are not walking, you're going to get a horse that stretches out and is not able to keep the rhythm of the steps. And so when I have a horse that is really stretching the front leg, and the focus is of course on the front legs, and they forget a little bit about the back legs walking, I then think about getting more momentum, speed in the walk, lifting and then walking again. Lifting and walking again. So they really know that it is a walking exercise, that they have to take the lifting of the leg into the forward. So once we have the steps from a front position, and we can do 2 legs every step. So we're lifting, lifting, lifting. Again, just looking for sometimes even 2 steps is enough. Lifting, lifting, and relax again. And then 2 turns into 4, turns into being able to do as many as you like. But the trick is to try to quit on few steps. If you can get 1 or 2, 3 or 4, and then let it that the horse's momentum in the walk is going to give them the next step. So not that you feel like you have to ask and ask.